Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the likes.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Bears fans, make sure you also do me a huge favor by also hitting the like button on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. Before we go any further with today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by BetUS. As always, Bears fans, you guys already know this, but BetUS, Keek on the Mic are partnering all season long, and you can make any bet you want on the Chicago Bears all season long using BetUS. You guys can actually head over to betus.com and use promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus up to $2,000. It's a really good deal. Even if the Chicago Bears are pissing you off right now, I think it's still a good bet to go bet right now for them to beat the Los Angeles Rams this weekend. But Bears fans, once again, we are back for week 4 game preview as the Chicago Bears head home to Soldier Field to take on the Los Angeles Rams. And once again, I'm joined by Isaiah Frey. How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing all right. That was a tough pill to swallow. Seriously, losing 21-16 in the fashion that they lost. Once again, the offense looks lost, had opportunities. We'll get more into it. But what's your initial reaction to that loss to the Colts?
It was a bad loss. I mean, there ain't no other way to put it. I think, coming into the game, I think we both picked them to win, and they should have won. But, once the offense can't get going, it's going to be tough for the whole team to get W's, man. And I feel bad for the defense right now because they're fighting their butts off. They're doing as much as they can to keep them in the game. But at some point, man, they're going to break at some point. It's just it's inevitable. This is the offensive league, so it's tough, man. It's tough. I don't see how they can improve quick when their offensive line is non-existent. So, yeah.
Right. Obviously there was a lot of negatives, and we'll get into the negatives and how we think they can actually fix those negatives that they have right now, especially on offense. But let's go ahead and talk about the positives real quick, because one of the positives was Rome Odunze really coming to life for the Chicago Bears. 6 catches, for 112 yards, a touchdown pass. It's actually a really cool moment. It was actually, Caleb Williams' first touchdown pass as well, his first touchdown reception. So that was a cool moment. Caleb Williams actually broke the Bears rookie record with 363 passing yards. Not a big fan of him throwing for 52 times. That's definitely not a good balance. That's not a recipe for success. But all in all, I felt like even though he had his rookie mistakes, I feel like he definitely took a step forward as a quarterback as well in the loss to the Colts.
Definitely. I've seen improvement by him individually every single week. I think he's gotten better every single week he's played. That's great to see. That's great for Bears fans to watch. It's just tough for him. He's in a bad spot right now for a number of reasons. And it's not because of his own personal play. It's just his surrounding factors, everything that comes with it. The lack of establishing a run game. I can't say that enough, how that's affecting not only him, but the whole offense. I mean, goodness gracious. There's a reason why he's throwing 52 times in a game, because they can't run the ball. So, but him personally, I think he's doing a great job for what he's given, and it's great to see him improve every single week.
Yeah, and it's almost like moral victories, as tough as it is to say. Of course, you want to see your team win. But I am loving the flashes from Caleb Williams, and obviously, it seems like him and Rome Odunze are starting to heat up as well. And obviously, it sucks that Keenan Allen has been, sidelined with that heel injury, but it's also good that it seems like that connection is coming to life as well. So Isaiah, let's go ahead and talk about the negatives of this game. And one of the big negatives from, most Bears fans is not only the offensive line, but the offensive play calling by Shane Waldron. It really seems like we're taking a step back from Luke Getsy at this point. I want you to give me your initial reaction to the 4th and goal play from the 1 yard line. And that's all you can do is laugh, right? But what's your reaction to that play call?
That was my reaction. That was my reaction. Like, come on, man. You're on the 1 yard line and you do an option play, speed option, to the open side of the formation. So instead of you starting at the 1 yard line, you're starting at the 7 yard line. Essentially, when you get the ball, that was just, as smart as offensive coordinators are, man, they just sometimes just overthink themselves, and I bet that's one he wishes he can get back. That was not a good play call at whatsoever. That was probably top 5 worst play calls I've seen in my lifetime. No lie.
on my live stream on Sunday, I was like, that's the best play call that you have on your sheet for at the 1 yard line to score. Right. And I just was, I think I actually threw off my headset and walked away from the desk. I just needed a moment outside and like pace a little bit. Right. Cause I was like, there's no way we're getting punked right now. There is no way. That is the best call that you have on your play sheet. What made it even worse, Isaiah, is that if you look at a picture or the play, all the offensive linemen fell. Like all of them are, every single one of our offensive linemen are on the ground. Right. So there was like 5 guys instantly within seconds.
Yeah.
Running at DeAndre Swift. The play had no chance from the beginning.
It didn't, man. I hate lateral plays on the goal line especially when you're 1 yard line. Like there's absolutely no reason why you should be pitching the ball backwards on the 1 yard line. You're giving yourself a disadvantage. The defense is anticipating you running a ball quick and up the middle, so they're going to be coming quick and fast. So that long executed play is it's never going to work down there, man. That's something my son would have called the NCAA. Just be real with you, and it may have worked on the game, but not in the NFL.
Yeah, I think I would have been more happy with like a tush push or maybe putting Roshan Johnson or Khalil Herbert in the game and just letting them try to ram it in. Downhill, tough running. You need 1 yard. And then the fact is that what's so frustrating is that I think we had 2 or 3 opportunities to get 1 yard for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get it. That just shows you how bad this offensive line has been.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. And to add on what you're saying too is you say you don't happen to get in the 1 yard line. That's possible, right? That happens. Those guys get paid too. You got them pinned back on the 1 inch yard line when you go back on defense. Like that all the way around, that was just a bad call. Like I can't get behind that, man. That bothered me as much as this has bothered you, man. I hated it.
Yeah, speaking of terrible play calling, Isaiah, before we go into this pregame show for the Los Angeles Rams this week, there's another play call. Obviously we were really happy moment for us being from, California, Sacramento area. Leatu Latu got a huge game-changing sack. Bears were down 14-9, but it looked like the momentum was changing. But what I don't love about that play call is that they had Cole Kmet once again motioning over, trying to block Leatu Latu. They did it last week with Will Anderson Jr. When is Shane Waldron going to learn that that's not working for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, you can't have your tight end, be blocking an edge rusher. One that's, he's a rookie. I get it, but he was drafted in the first round for a reason. That's not smart. So I think he has to realize what he has on offense, and he has to scheme his plays around that. Around the ability that he has. And I don't think he's quite figured that out yet. It's looking real Lucas Getzius right now, and then
Lucas Getzius. I love that.
I don't know if it's how it's gonna go moving forward. So I don't know. We'll see.
So last question for you, Isaiah, before we move forward. You're Shane Waldron, or you're Matt Eberflus, or even if you're Ryan Poles, you have the power to make some changes. What do you do to get this offense on track?
There's not much you can do. I mean, because a lot of the issues that they have is personnel issues on offense for sure. Offensive line, they're just not talented enough up front. And when you have issues like that, it's tough sledding to get anything going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to what I said a couple of weeks ago. I think the best thing you can do is stay consistent and stay adamant about developing a run game. Whether that means you're not really getting any yards or not, but just the concept of you trying to establish that run game is going to give you a slight glimmer of chance in opening up the pass game even more, just because you will have slight success running the ball more than every first down or when it's second and short and when it's obvious times to run the ball. You got to just do it just to keep the defense off balance. And I think right now, everybody knows what they're going to do. They're going to pin their ears back and go because they're going to rely on Caleb to have to throw the ball 50 times a game. So,
Yeah, Bears fans, I just want to note to not only you guys, but Isaiah as well, going into that game, the Colts were dead last against the run, 28 attempts for 63 yards, 28 to 52 pass run ratio. It's not going to win you a lot of football games. Of course, we love the flashes from Caleb Williams, but at the end of the day, that's going to get him killed as well moving forward. So that's something moving forward for me personally. I know you said that there's really no changes to be made to this offense because there's not talented enough. There's one change that I'd actually like to see, and this may shock you and Bears fans watching this episode of Keek on the Mic, but I think I'd make a change at running back. And I know we just paid DeAndre Swift 3 years, $24 million. He's supposed to be the featured back in Chicago. I think Roshan Johnson needs to be the new featured back in Chicago. And there's multiple reasons I can say that. I feel like he runs more physical. than DeAndre Swift. I feel like he's always going forward, even with the terrible offensive line blocking up front. I still think he can get you yards moving forward. I mean, he's an excellent pass blocker as well. So I think when you put all those things together, I think he gives you the best chance to kind of bring a spark to this running back room. Even when you look at Sunday's loss against the Colts, he had 10 carries for 38, I think 10 carries for 30 yards. That led all running backs. Not a lot, but it seems like when he was in the game, it definitely gave the Bears rushing attack a little bit of spark. So I think the more carries you give him, the more he starts heating up. It's almost kind of like that Derrick Henry effect. I'm not calling him Derrick Henry, but the more carries and touches Derrick Henry gets, the better he gets. So I feel that same effect with Roschon Johnson. Some people may disagree with me, but I really like Roschon Johnson as a featured back. They probably won't do that, just the fact because they did pay DeAndre Swift that money in the offseason. Right. But I think you kind of need to switch things up as well. I do agree with your point, though, that we need to be better up front. We just don't have the talent right now. But I do like Roschon Johnson getting more touches within this offense. I think that will help Caleb Williams quite a bit.
I think, watching the game, he definitely is what stood out to me when running the ball. I think he just runs powerful. And that's no knock on DeAndre Swift, man. That's just not his game.
It's not his game, yeah.
It's not his game. And, a guy like Roschon can at least, break some tackles when
Right.
they're breaking the interior line. And it's tough, man, because we all seen what DeAndre Swift can do behind a
good
decent
offensive line.
A good offensive line, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I don't disagree, but it's not a knock on DeAndre because it's not his fault.
He's a great player. It's just a bad fit for him right now. And I
It's a
said that
bad
when
fit for-
when we signed him. I said he may not have the success that he saw in Philadelphia.
Right,
Because the Bears
exactly.
offensive line's not good.
No,
So at
they're
least
not.
with Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert, they're more powerful running backs. And then the fact that you take his pass blocking ability, he can also help that offensive line and help protect Caleb Williams. So that's why I feel like he probably offers a little bit more value right now than DeAndre Swift. I'm not saying throw DeAndre Swift in the trash by no means.
Yeah.
But there's just certain things that I think Roschon Johnson does better at this point that can maybe light a spark with the struggling Bears offense and try to find an identity for themselves.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I think that would help them a lot, but that remains to be seen. We'll see.
You know what I mean? We're just fans. We're not coaches. We'll see what they do, but I think he deserves more touches for sure. So now we're moving forward. We come back home and now we're 1-2 facing the 1-2 Los Angeles Rams. And they're coming off an impressive comeback win over the San Francisco 49ers, which the Niners are banged up, but so are, the Los Angeles Rams without Cooper Kupp, without Puka Nacua, without some of their defensive pieces, without some of their offensive linemen. They're able to come back, and obviously Matthew Stafford's a really, really good quarterback in the National Football League. To me, a future Hall of Famer. What's your initial thoughts on this matchup against the Rams at home?
Scary game for Chicago, man. They're in a weird spot right now. They can go one of two ways. They can go really, really well to where they win convincingly and everybody feels good about themselves after the game, or it can go the way I think it's going to be, and it can be a really, really close, low-scoring game, and they find a way to lose it at the end, and things start to, things start to go on fire after that. So it's a big game for Chicago, man. I'll say that it's almost a must-win for them.
Yeah, and I was about to say that to you, Isaiah. Is this a must-win for the Bears this early in the season? And I think it may be because when you look ahead at their schedule, this was supposed to be the stretch that was supposed to be, okay, get a couple of wins before you go to week 11 where you play Green Bay twice, Minnesota twice, the 49ers, the Seahawks, right? That's going to be the tough stretch. So you have to be able to win some of these games. After the Rams, you play, to me, an energized Panthers team with Andy Dalton. Then you go to London and play the Jaguars, which we all know how the Jaguars play in London. That's going to be a tough game. And then you go on your bye week, you play the Washington Commanders. Then you play New England Patriots. New England's been playing really well. Then you play the Cardinals. They also been playing really well. So by no stretch, wins do not come easy. Like you said a couple weeks ago, wins don't come easy in the NFL. But the Bears need to figure out on the offensive side, the defense has been balling. The offense needs to figure out in a quick and a hurry, and it has to be this week in Chicago.
Yeah, they got to get it together, man. It's inevitable. They have to. They have to do it. They have to get it going. It's now or never for sure. And then once if they lose and Eberflus starts filling the hot seat, man, there's no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah, so right now, just breaking down some stats for the season for both the Rams and the Chicago Bears. Starting off with Matthew Stafford, has 754 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, and interception, a 92.6 rating. Caleb Williams has 630 yards, which is 7th in the National Football League right now, crazy enough. 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, a 65.3 rating. Kyron Williams has been really impressive so far to me for the Los Angeles Rams. Really keeps that offense moving. 54 carries, 164 yards, 4 touchdown rushes for him. DeAndre Swift, 37 carries, 68 yards, not so good. Obviously, DJ Moore has been, racking up some catches for the Bears, 19 catches, 167 yards, 0 touchdowns. And really, the Rams right now are leaning on DeMarcus Robinson at receiver. Cooper Kupp will be out this week for the Rams. Of course, Puka Nakua's on IR. Keenan Allen, don't really know the status on him yet. Still dealing with that heel injury. He's probably going to be a game time decision for the Chicago Bears. In terms of injuries, Isaiah, how important is it for the Chicago Bears to get Keenan Allen back for Caleb Williams? Or at this point, does it not matter since they don't have an offensive line to protect Caleb Williams?
It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. That's not going to make a difference. I think, the problem is not the receivers. I actually think DeAndre Carter has been coming in and playing well.
Absolutely.
So I don't see that being an issue. That's never an issue with the offense. It's completely. I mean, yeah, it's always good to have a Keenan Allen on the field. I'm not gonna sit there and say that, but do I think it's gonna change much having him out there compared to getting a whole different offensive line to block for Caleb? No, not at all. So I don't see it being a big difference if he plays or not.
Right. I definitely agree. I think it was Chris Collinsworth during the Sunday Night Football matchup. I think you brought it up last week saying, if they had Keenan Allen, this would be a totally different Bears offense. Okay, so Keenan Allen can block too.
Right.
He'd be on the offensive line too. To me, these weapons are no good without a solid offensive line, right? So we say it every week. We just need the offense to find identity quick. It starts off with the offensive line, but also Shane Waldron has to be better at calling consistent plays as well. So let's go ahead and talk about some key matchups for this Rams versus Chicago Bears matchup. I'll let you go ahead and start.
Obvious one, offensive line, Chicago's offensive line versus the Rams defensive line. I think, Rams have always had a solid defensive line, man. And I think the notable, missing piece is Aaron Donald. So not having them actually plays into the Bears' favor. But it's going to be what I said earlier, man. It's going to have to be early and often that they establish the run, and it's going to have to come from Shane and staying patient in the drive. I think a lot of offensive coordinators, they get impatient sometimes, which I understand. Like you want to score quick, but those long drives, those mean something, man, because they come into play in the fourth quarter. So that's my key matchup right there: the offensive line versus the defensive line of the Rams.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I would just love to see some rhythm plays, from Shane Waldron for Caleb Williams. 5 plus 5 is 10. Simple math. I loved how they got Cole Kmet more involved. 10 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. I think Cole Kmet is a key to really get this offense going besides the run game. But yeah, once again, I feel like this is another game just like with the Colts where you can take advantage. They're not good against the run, but we're also not good up front. So, it's easy to say that they're not good against run, but we can't establish the run either. So, the Rams are probably thinking the same thing about the Chicago Bears offensive line and offense. They're probably licking their chops right now for opportunity for them to get on track, right? So they got to be able to establish the run, and it starts with the offensive line. I think our key matchup will continue to be the Bears offensive line against the opposing team's defensive line. So let's go ahead and go into some X factors now. For me, I think, once again, it's going to start continuing being with just Roschon Johnson, the running backs in the room. I think we have a good 3-headed monster. Once again, I do understand that the offensive line is weak up front, but I think I'm just going to focus in on Roschon Johnson because, once again, he can pass block. I feel like he's good out of the backfield as a pass catcher as well. He just runs powerful. And once again, when you have a struggling offensive line, he literally gets 3 to 4 yards a carry, even with the inefficiencies on the offensive line. So for me, it's just about getting Roschon Johnson more involved. And for me, for the Bears, that's a huge X factor.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with Cole Kmet. I think watching him last week, I think that was really, really good to see him out there getting a little production. I think that they call his number a little bit more. I think he can be a really good security blanket for Caleb. And if they're able to establish that early, I think, a lot of times when Caleb's looking downfield and he has nowhere to go, he knows in the back of his mind that I got Cole Kmet that I can throw to at least as a check down. So I'm picking him as my X factor for this week.
Yeah, I do want to bring something up for Bears fans and, of course, you, Isaiah, as well. Last week, Juwan Jennings, with the banged-up 49ers team, had 11 catches, 175 yards, and 3 touchdown receptions. There's opportunities there for Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, to really have a big game. So I don't think Shane Waldron should really overcomplicate this. Of course, he's coming from the Seattle Seahawks, so he should know more than anybody how this 49, how this Rams defense operates, right? So I think he should be able to attack them, have a game plan, and hopefully get things going and find themselves an offense identity this week against the Los Angeles Rams.
Absolutely, and that comes in his favor, like you said. You brought up a really, really good point. Like he's played them twice a year for quite a while now. So coming into this game, he should know exactly what he needs to do to be successful against the Rams. So this is a big game for Shane.
Right. So let's waste no time here. Let's go ahead and go into the score predictions for the Bears versus Rams at home at Soldier Field. The Bears are actually the 3-point favorite here, surprisingly. I think it's, usually when it's a toss-up, they just give the home team, I think, the 3-point spread. So I think that's the reason. So Isaiah, I'll let you start. Who's winning this football game?
I know I said earlier that, how I think it's going to go. I kind of misspoke. I actually think Chicago's going to win this game. I'm picking them. So I'm going to pick them winning this game 17-14.
Smart man. I think last week you said they were going to score 24 points. And I was like shocked. I was like, you think the offense is going to score 24 points? Granted, missed field goal by Carlos Santos. The 4th-and-1 debacle would have been 10 points in their favor. I think that would have given them, 20-something points. So you would have been right if they weren't playing dumb football. But hey, I respect it. I think they also can bounce back this week. I think you have to take advantage of, we don't wish injury on anybody, but you have to take advantage of a banged up Los Angeles Rams team. But once again, it's going to be a tough matchup, especially when you have Matthew Stafford as the quarterback over there. I think the defense continues to do what they've been doing, forcing Matthew Stafford in some uncomfortable situations, maybe a couple of turnovers. But for once, I think the offense needs to capitalize off those turnovers. I think they will. I think they'll be energized by the home crowd as well. I think this is a must-win game. I think Caleb Williams also takes a step forward, and I think the Bears win by a score of 17-13 as well. I'm going to give them 17-13.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. We're on the same path, man. I feel you.
Yeah, low scoring game, but I think they get it done.
It's crazy. This is off topic, but I seen a crazy stat last week through week 3 last week or week 2? Yeah. Anyways, the stat was they showed all the passing touchdowns from 2018 up to this point and how many passing touchdowns. Like it was like 150, 140, 150, 160, 1 year. This year, guess how many, like before last week, guess how many passing touchdowns the league had total? It was like 63.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, actually. This is crazy to see that stat and how much of the game is in front of us changing right now. And I like it because I'm a defensive guy, so I'm actually appreciating it. But I know a lot of fans hate it because, they like to see points on the board. So
they'd like to see points. I feel like the game is going back to more defense, but at the same time with some of the penalty calls that they favored offense as well. So it's kind of like a weird balance that they're trying to get the defense back into it, which I love. I love low scoring football because that's what I'm used to. Growing up being a Bears fan, that's what I've been used to. Low scoring games, defense getting a couple turnovers, the Bears win 13-3 or 13-10, right? So those are the games we've been used to, but I know people love watching teams score and winning by 45-40. I don't like that. That means your defense is not good, right? If you're 40 points, but still, I don't know. But yeah. As always, Isaiah, I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we can have something to celebrate next week. Once again, the Bears have dropped back-to-back games and now sitting at 1-2. They're now officially last place in the NFC North. Hopefully things can change and we can get back on track next week. Once again, I do appreciate you tuning in with me.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, as always, Bears fans, make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. And make sure you head over to betus.com and use promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus up to $2,000 to bet on the Chicago Bears all season long. Other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
Bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic.